Just about a year ago, here at this very racetrack, we had the second annual running of the Christmas Eve Showdown, and it came down to quite the wild finish after that final caution flew, where Jack Haas ended up being called the race winner over Darian Arnsdorf, and that has certainly gone down in history as definitely one of the finishes here on the channel. But here we are at this same racetrack 1 year later, here to run it all back once again. We are here for the third annual running of the Christmas Eve Showdown. This is always such a fun event to run year in and year out, and very excited to see how the third annual running of this event will go. But before we do get to the main event tomorrow afternoon, we have to set the starting lineup for that main event, and that's what we are here to do here tonight. Got a pair of 10-lap races ahead of us to set the starting lineup for the main event, and it'll still be really interesting to see who all does end up getting it done here in the duels for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown. What's going on, everybody? Caleb here, and welcome to the duels for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown. It's already that time of the year once again. You got Christmas coming up in just 2 days. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the main race tomorrow will go. It's such a fun event year in and year out, but the duels are definitely quite interesting in their own right as well. Last year's running of this race saw quite a spectacular accident in the second duel, which led to duel number 1 getting the inside lane for the main event, and we definitely might have some interesting events in store here tonight from these two duel races. Of course, the same structure as always, 2 10-lap races. Winner of each duel will be on the front row for the main event, and the fastest duel will get the inside lane, and the winner of that duel in particular will be starting on the pole position tomorrow afternoon for the Christmas Eve Showdown. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these races do play out here tonight indeed. And I'm not alone here on the call for this one. Joining alongside Logan Williams and Matthew Hubert on the call for these pair of races. Thank you both so much for joining me alongside here on the call. And I definitely got to ask you both, starting with you, Logan, what are your expectations here for the duel races here tonight? How aggressive do you think these guys are going to be? And how do you think this is going to set the stage for the main event coming up tomorrow afternoon?
Well, I think it's going to be, a really fun couple of races here. While the starting position may not matter the most here at a M&M Super Speedway compared to a lot of other tracks out there, it's still just, it's another race. And personally, I personally want to race hard and I want to win every race. I'm sure a lot of all these 20 drivers want to do that too. So I'm hoping to see some aggressive all-out racing, just like we've come to know from this event.
Absolutely. Starting on the front row, especially the pole for this main event, is still a pretty big honor. And hey, these will still count for channel wins as well. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as this night goes along. But we'll have to see how it does end up shaking out. But Matthew, I definitely got to ask you as well, what are your expectations here for these pair of races? And how do you think these are going to play out leading into tomorrow's big event?
I'm not entirely sure what to expect, really. It could be relatively calm, like Duel 1 last year, or we could have a caution early on, like what happened to Philip Torres early on in the second duel. And it's going to be interesting to see how Darian Arnsdorf, in particular, in the 36 will fare, considering what happened not only in the Christmas Eve Showdown last year, but also the way he lost the Wawa Cup Series Uncharted Championship.
Yeah, definitely. Got a lot of storylines coming into this race with what has happened in the past year. Darian Arnsdorf definitely going to be one to watch out for in this race. Of course, just barely. Well, honestly, I don't really even know what to say about how he lost last year's race and had a good run this year on the Wawa Cup Series. Like you said, unfortunately missed out there on the Uncharted title, but we know Arnsdorf is a great driver, and he's back in this event once again, looking to claim what some might say is rightfully his. And I'll have to see if he can pull it off both in this duel race and in the main event tomorrow. It'll definitely be really fun to see how everything will shake out over the course of these 2 days here from the M&M Super Speedway here from Concord, Massachusetts. But with all that being said, I think it's about time we get these guys rolling here for the first of 2 duels here tonight And as they do, we'll take a quick look here through your starting lineup here for the first two duels here from the M&M Super Speedway here for the Christmas Eve Showdown. Starting on the pole position here for the first duel of the night, we have the number 51 of Justin Zeidel alongside the number 36 of Darian Arnsdorf. In row number 2, we have the 26 of Isaac Nichols making his first appearance here in the Christmas Eve Showdown, starting alongside the number 17, your reigning Wawa Cup Series champion, Duncan Ward. In row number 3, we find the number 19 of Skip Silver, starting alongside the 22, attempting to break that record of most wins in a single calendar year, Alexander Rowe. Row number 4, we find the 33 of BB Ruiz, starting alongside the number 43 of Brian Webb. Row 5, we find the number 7 of Max Davis, starting alongside the number 52, your Lenovo Pro Series champion, Emily York Watson. In row number 6, we find the 99, your winner from the 10th anniversary race, Igor Barreto, starting alongside the number 55 of Kasumi Takashi. In row 7, we find the number 20 of Bucky Campbell, starting alongside the 29 of Bryce Egan. In row number 8, we find the number 16 of Dylan Matthews, starting alongside the number 48 of Anthony Hernandez, who won his respective duel last year. Have to see if he could potentially run it back. In row number 9, we find the number 15 of Sarah Taylor, starting alongside the number 30 of Marcus De Jesus. In row number 10, we find the 44 of Aaron Luke, starting alongside the number 12 of Henry Jack Brown. And rounding out the field in row 11, we find the number 40 of Matt Black. But Logan and then Matt, I've got to ask you both, who's your picks to go to victory lane here from the first duel here from the Christmas Eve Showdown?
You know, I started to follow the Alexander Rowe and a lot of his success earlier this year. When his numbers of his wins kept climbing, and he's done most of them, all of these equal rating situations, which of course the Christmas Eve Showdown is. So I'm going to take Alexander Rowe to get that record-setting win tonight.
My pick for this race win will be Anthony Hernandez, who won a duel last year, the 488.
Anthony Hernandez won his respective duel last year. Have to see how he does here this time around. This time driving the number 48, Jimmy Johnson's Lowe's Chevrolet. But here we go, down the front straightaway, Justin Zeidel. Darian Arnsdorf leads us back to the green flag. We're racing here in duel number 1. The 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown is officially underway. Down the back straightaway for the first time here in duel number 1, Justin Zeidel looking to hold on to the race lead. They're 4 wide behind him. Max Davis in the 7 with a big move down to the inside. Ooh, they're stacking up quite a bit here as we head through turns 3 and 4. And need to be careful off of these corners. They can get pretty tight because kind of the grip goes away as the progressive banking kicks in. But everybody keeps it together here on the opening lap of the race. And Justin Zeidel from the pole will lead the opening lap, but here comes the 7 of Max Davis looking to try and take a peek to the inside. Here going into turn number 1, you got a 16 of Dylan Matthews there, leading that inside lane behind the 7 with Matt Black and the 40 in tow, along with the 33 of BB Ruiz, but Anthony Hernandez got a pretty good jump out in the race lead. However, at Super Speedways, I'm not quite sure that's what you want to have. As 51 of Justin Zeidel is getting a really good pull here down the back straightaway, clears the cars that were underneath him, and might have a shot at that 7 machine if he can hold off that 40 of Matt Black, who's being pushed by his Aaron's teammate, the 55 of Kasumi Takashi.
Yeah, Matt Black in the 40 started his shotgun on the field, and in just a lap, he was top 10. After 2 laps, he is in 3rd. Top 3 are all in a single file line here now, though. That's going to help them get the speed up for sure, but they're all starting to pull away a little bit. Now, 51 of Zeidel trying to get back to the front. Meanwhile, the guy who started on the front row with him, Darian Arnsdorf, is already at the very rear of the field, back there in the 36. Might just be biding his time. Another top 5 starter, Duncan Ward, also back there already, but there's not much time in these duels, only 10 laps, and it's a very, very fast racetrack. So I would say you want to get up front as much as you possibly can.
These laps tick by very fast here in these duel races, and the outside lane doesn't really have the grip needed to make the momentum stick. So a lot of those guys falling back on the outside early on. Arnsdorf, though, has gotten back down to the inside and is looking to try and make some of that ground back up. Justin Zeidel, though, in the 51, has stayed up towards the front pretty much throughout this entire duel so far. He definitely has a fast car, like we saw out of him back in the first annual running of this race back in 2023. But here comes the 40 and Matt Black taking a peek to the inside with Takumi Takashi in the 55 there right in tow.
Yeah, and especially there, Matt Black started all the way in the back, shotgun on the field, now leading basically MWR 1-2-3, it seems like there. Arnsdorf finally got down to the bottom lane there and is getting back inside the top 5. Same there with Skep Silver, however, Silver's now on the top lane there. Here comes Alexander Rowe, here comes Aaron Lukes back there, along with Brian Webb. And I believe that's Bernardo de Oliveira in the 17 as Duncan Ward in the 17.
Honestly, kind of showing just how fast things can change here from the M&M Super Speedway. We were just talking about Arnsdorf, Duncan Ward being towards the back of the field. Now they're up here towards the front trying to fight for the lead. However, Arnsdorf's going to get a surprise there from the 20 of Bucky Campbell jumping down to the inside here as we head through turns 3 and 4. Campbell, a rookie to this event here this time around, looking to make a splash here by winning duel number 1. 17 of Duncan Ward there is in tow, followed by Alexander Rowe, Bryce Egan. There's the 44 of Aaron Lukes looking to jump down to the inside, trying to make a move on the 29. Can't quite get the momentum. But Campbell trying to take the momentum to the 40 of Matt Black. He's going to get to the inside here as we head through turns 1 and 2 as we're halfway home here through duel number 1. Like I touched on, these duels only 10 laps, and this is a very fast racetrack, so these will fly by relatively quickly, and already got 5 coming to 4 laps to go here in this race. Here comes the 17, Duncan Ward, trying to take a peek to the inside, 3 wide for the race lead. Here comes Bryce Egan, Bibi Ruiz, Marcus De Jesus, another rookie to this event, lined up on the inside.
And Duncan Ward taking the lead in that, if I do say so myself, that beautiful number 17 car. My apologies for mixing him up with Skep Silva earlier on, but Duncan doesn't care. This is a track that I think suits his racing style very well. They're 5 wide behind him, though. That's something that I don't even know if Duncan would want to do. They figured that out. But in the middle of the pack here, no, not been too bad. They're not wrecking or anything like that. It's still clean and green, but that got a little scary for a second.
Yeah, 5 wide, honestly, kind of like 4 wide at most super speedways. It can work, but if you go 5 wide, one wrong move could send a whole bunch of cars spinning and crashing, so you need to be careful with that. Luckily, they were able to get out of it, but still coming to 3 laps to go here in this duel. Anything can still happen, and Marcus De Jesus in the 30 trying to take a peek to the inside of Ruiz for that race lead. Here comes the 16 of Matthews looking to make it 3 wide. You got Brian Webb, Emily York-Watson, Skep Silver, and Justin Zeidel there on the inside. Bryce Egan, the 29, they're stuck up all the way on the outside, and you're seeing him slip back there in the 29. Like I mentioned, no grip up there on that top side. Does get a push there, though, from the 15 of Sarah Taylor. Kasumi Takashi looking to take a peek to the inside in the 55. Doesn't have the help, though. Here comes the 99, Igor Barreto. Haven't talked about him so far here in this duel, but he might have just been abiding by his time as now he goes for the race lead. As looking right behind him, it's a Hornet's Nest back through here. We got 5 wide at least almost once again. They're making maybe a bit of contact off of turn number 4, but they keep it together, and Igor Barreto leads us to 2 laps to go here in Duel 1.
It's still not over yet. I think the drivers that have the best opportunity to win are either Sarah Taylor, Bryce Egan back there, even Darian Arnsdorf in the 36 got down to the bottom, along with Henry Brown, the 12. And 2 laps to go. Still, anything could happen there. Brian Webb right now looks like he has the best opportunity there. Maybe even Skep Silver in the 19. But there's still quite a bit of time there as Takashi almost cuts down on the 43 as we go to the white flag.
Coming to the white flag this time by 1 lap to go here in Duel 1, and anybody could probably still win this race. Brian Webb leads us to the white flag. Skip Silver on the inside. Arnsdorf, here comes the 40 of Matt Black. Looking to take it almost 4 wide for the race lead. In that number 40 machine, here comes the 29 of Bryce Egan, who just got stuck up on that outside lane. Already looking to make his way back up to third as they fan out quite a bit behind him. Brian Webb has a solid lead built up down the back straightaway, but that's going to give Matt Black a huge pull here down at this back straightaway. He's got the push as well from the 36 of Darian Arnsdorf. But the 43 has a solid gap still here as we head into turns 3 and 4. I don't know if the 40 has enough momentum to get there. And off of turn number 4, they're crashing off of turn number 4. Upside down goes Duncan Ward. But out towards the front, it's Brian Webb who's going to win duel number 1 here for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown. And we have a junkyard down the front stretch. Duncan Ward was over. BB Ruiz, I think, also went over in the 33.
Well, I guess it's better to wreck coming to the checker flag, but still, that's at least 8 cars involved.
It's going to send quite a couple cars to the back of the field for this duel and for the main event potentially as well. Luckily, they did wreck coming to the checkered, like you mentioned, so that probably won't divot in their average speed, if any. It's going to be a 226.443 average speed for the 43 of Brian Webb. So overall, a great performance there by the 43. And of course, with that crash is happening on the white flag, that still should probably put them in a solid position to maybe nab the inside lane if something does go awry in duel number 2. But regardless, quite the race here to start out the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown. And a very fun race here in duel number 1. And how about that for the 43 of Brian Webb? Had a really solid season over in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. And he's going to win duel number 1 and have a potential shot at the pole position for tomorrow's main event. So, how about that for Brian Webb?
Yeah, it's a good win for him indeed. He's also been putting up some pretty big numbers on the board in regards to wins this year. It's always good to get your name onto that wins list. One thing that did surprise me, though, this event usually has an 83% batting average of getting these races on the closest wins list. I don't think this one is quite going to get there because Brian Webb was sitting pretty the entire last lap. It was a great positioning on his part to get to the front right at the right time.
Yeah, it's safe to say that Brian Webb and Matt Black has pretty good cars there for the main race coming up shortly. But I'd say there, Darian Arns, Alexander Rowe, had there been another lap there, who knows, Alexander Rowe might have got the win there had they not wrecked to the checker flag.
Could have maybe done
it's
it.
like Arnsdorf got the butt end of the zero at the line again.
Would you look at that? 4th and 5th, down to the 10,000th of a second, .354. How about that there? But Brian Webb, by a pretty significant margin for a super speedway, gets the race win here in duel number 1. And like before mentioned, will have a pretty good shot at going for pole, depending on how duel number 2 goes. But with all that being said, definitely got to congratulate Brian Webb there on that race victory. With all that said, I think it's about time we head on and get duel number 2 underway here from the M&M Super Speedway here for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown Duels. And welcome back once again here to the M&M Super Speedway after quite the eventful duel number 1, which saw Brian Webb go to victory lane in a pretty hellacious crash on the last lap of the race. We are here for the second duel of the night, and the last of the duels of the night, and this will be the duel where we finally decide who starts on the inside, who starts on the outside lane. Of course, the average speed to beat from the first duel was 226.443. Have to see how these guys do end up comparing, but after that first duel, I'd say we're definitely in for quite the interesting race here in duel number 2. But we'll just have to wait and see how it all ends up shaking out after 10 laps here from the M&M Super Speedway. But let's get these guys to roll off really quickly. Kicking off the starting grid here for duel number 2, we have the number 34, your reigning winner of the Christmas Eve Showdown, Jack Haas. starting alongside the number 18 of Tyler Jericho. Row 2, we find the 88 Mr. Edge, Nicholas Samadillo, starting alongside the number 6 of Bernardo de Oliveira. Row number 3, it's the big staple, Nathan Stapleton, starting alongside the 27 Orion Durrani, going for a potential Truck Series Drivers' Championship with Matthew Hubert here in just a couple days' time. Row number 4, we have the 56, your Indy 250 champion from this year, Brennan Wilmington, starting alongside the number 98 of Owen Miles. Row 5, we have the number 14 of Avery Alford, starting alongside your Thanksgiving 500 champion, Chase McClure. Row 6, we have the number 50 of Joey Hightower, starting alongside the number 1 of Eric Monaco. And in row 7, we find the number 11 of Thomas Troxel, starting alongside the number 49 of Travis Crampton. Row 8, we have the number 24 of Tanner Parton, starting alongside the number 5 of Nathan Meyer. Followed by row number 9, where we have the number 9 of Aaron Abel, starting alongside the number 13 of John Andrews. Looking back here towards row 10, we have the number 39, Hallie Anderson Jr., starting alongside the 83 of David Dixon. And rounding out the field in row number 11, we have the number 38 of Trey Wright. Again, this time Matthew and then Logan. I gotta ask you both, who's your all's picks to go to victory lane here in duel number 2?
My pick to win this race is the number 50 of Joey Hightower, starting just outside the top 10 there in the 11th position. Not sure how long it's been since the last time he went to victory lane. I'd imagine it's been quite a couple years.
Gonna take the guy who owned my cars in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series for a couple years. Trey Wright in that 38, coming from the back of the field. I think he can get it done.
It would be 2 big wins right there, Hightower and Wright. Nice to see them here in this race. Let's see how they do here in duel number 2 and how they line up for the main event tomorrow afternoon. But coming to the green flag, it's going to be the 34 of Jack Haas and the 18 of Tyler Jericho who's going to lead us to the green flag. Duel number 2 is underway here from the M&M Super Speedway. Back straightaway, once again, the pole sitter hanging strong as Jack Haas looking to lead the field here into turn number 3. Once again, they're 4 wide behind him. Here comes the 56 of Brennan Wilmington with a power move to the inside, looking to try and take second away. Tyler Jericho gets shuffled all the way up to the outside there, and that number 18, like I mentioned in Duel 1, just no grip up there, and he's already slipping back quite a bit there in that M&M's Toyota. Here comes the 14 of Avery Alford up here in the 3rd position. Aaron Abel there in the 9's already made his way up here inside of the top 5, pushed by the 39, Hallie Anderson Jr. There's Trey Wright, who started caboose end of the field here in Duel 2. He's already made his way well within the top 10. As for the race lead, Brennan Wilmington tries to take a nose underneath 34 Jack Haas. They're side by side here as we head down the back straightaway for the 2nd time here today.
And as we saw last time there, going 5 wide, especially going through this final turn, is going to be a bit treacherous there. We'll need to keep eye on especially the midfield there, as 49 of Travis Crampton up into the top 5 as well. There's the 1 of Eric Monaco. Almost said Nicholas Samadillo there.
All around goes a 6.
No.
Owen Jericho.
Oh.
Tyler Jericho
Does a
nose
kickflip
first
and slams into the outside wall. Samadillo's
He hit
in it.
first on the
Joey
wall.
Hightower's in it. He
Tony Hawk
might
would be
have. Owen Miles in the 98 was in it. A lot more cars with damage. And I think it's safe to say that duel number 2 will not be getting the inside lane for the main event tomorrow.
Wow. After what we saw in Duel 1, with that being the comb race, I just knew there was going to be an early wrecking duel too.
Well, you know what they say, one's calm, the other's chaotic. And while both had their fair share of calamity, it's going to be the second duel that brings out our first caution of the night here in the duel races. And it's the 39 of Hallie Anderson Jr. that leads them back to the caution flag. Yeah, like I mentioned, that's going to put a huge deficit on this duel's average speed, so I think it should be pretty safe to say that Brian Webb will probably be your pole sitter for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown, but we do still have the other front row starter left up for grabs, and of course still got the channel win there as well. So it'll still be a pretty interesting finish here in duel number 2, but quite the interesting accident there through turns 1 and 2 with the 18 of Tyler Jericho going over and almost looking like he went roof first into the outside wall. Let's get a quick replay of what went down, and we'll get you all back green flag racing here in duel number 2 here for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown.
Early on here in duel number 2 of the Christmas Eve Showdown, but Owen Miles in that 98 car going to slide up just a little bit through the corner. He's going to catch the bumper of the number 6 of Bernardo de Oliveira, and then everyone behind him is going to get collected. Tyler Jericho goes straight up into the 88 Nicholas Samadio, who nails him in the door, and he does a perfect 360-degree side flip. You also catching Joey Hightower in the back of the wreck there, as well as a couple of other cars. But big one here at the M&M Super Speedway in turn number 2 to start off this duel, and it's definitely looking chaotic so far. We'll have to see what happens with the rest of the field after this.
Even a track like Coca-Cola Super Speedway, you rarely see there. Owen Miles, 5 was clear on Bernardo de Oliveira, and Tyler Jericho, as you saw there, had one of the coolest flips there, although he's probably not going to continue there. And that's going to end both his day, Sam Medio's day, even Joey Hightower as well. Tough break for all 3 of them.
Definitely a tough break there for all those guys involved. Jericho, Samadio is going to be out of this race there, so a really tough break for all of those guys involved. A couple others got some damage as well. Of course, De Oliveira was involved. Owen Miles, Nathan Stapleton with damage. I believe you also had the 24 of Tanner Parton pick up some damage in the 24 as well. Not quite sure what happened to the 24, although... Oh, he's going to get hooked under caution by the 34 of Jack Haas. And they're both going to go spinning through the grass here down the back straightaway. Didn't quite catch that on the first go-around. And haven't quite seen something like that from this racetrack. But the chaos continues here under caution as Parton and Jack Haas go spinning into the inside wall under caution. So tough break as well for those two. But sometimes that's just how chaotic these super speedway races can be. But of course, as aforementioned, it's the 39 of Hallie Anderson Jr. that led the field back to the caution flag and will be leading the field back to the restart here from duel number 2 here for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown. And we're back here from the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown duels. Back here for your coverage here of duel number 2, wrapping up our first caution of the race for quite a ginormous crash there through turns 1 and 2 with the 18 of Tyler Jericho with going roof over wheels and slapping the outside wall. A couple other cars involved as well, including Nicholas Samadio, Joey Hightower, among others. It's back of the field towards damage. Stapleton has some damage on the 42, so a tough break there for him. But after everything is said and done, still have, I believe it'll probably be 17, maybe 18 cars still left on the racetrack. Be 17 on the lead lap and running right now. And it's going to be the 39 of Hallie Anderson Jr. is going to lead the field back to the green flag with Eric Monaco in tow. You got Nathan Meyer third, David Dixon in fourth. Ryan Durrani rounding out your top 5 with Abel Crampton, number 24 of Tanner Parton, Jack Haas, and Trey Wright rounding out your top 10. Going to restart it with 5 laps to go here in duel number 2. Still got the win up for grabs. Have to see how the rest of this duel plays out. But Anderson Jr. leading the field back up here through the gears.
And for the rest of this field that wasn't in that accident, the field is smaller, which means there's a way better shot to get this win. That's what Nathan Meyer's looking for. He made a big move down to the inside there. He got by Monaco. Now he's looking to get next to Haley Anderson Jr. up for the lead.
Here comes the 27. Ryan Durrani peeking to the inside here down the back straightaway with a push from the 49 of Travis Crampton. Meyer goes back up in line behind the 39 of Hallie Anderson Jr. Crampton there on the bottom. The 13 of John Andrews looking to make his way up here towards the front of the field, pushed by the 56 Brendan Wilmington. You got Chase McClure up here as well. There's the 11 of Thomas Truxell hanging on to this lead draft. The 24, Tanner Parton, does have some damage, so I believe he is kind of struggling to hold on to the lead pack, along with the 42 and Nathan Stapleton and Owen Miles, as Joey Hightower in the 50 is going to re-enter this race, but with some significant damage there to the 50 machine, probably just looking for anything he can get at this point. As to the inside for the lead goes the 27 of Ryan Durrani, looking to try and block that outside lane here down the back straightaway. He's going to block this 39 Anderson Jr. Here comes Meyer with a run to the inside for second. Here comes John Andrews in the 13 with a huge run. He's going to give Nathan Meyer a shove there in the 5, and now he's going to take it to the inside of the 27 of Durrani, coming back down the front stretch, coming to 3 laps to go here in Duel 2.
Now with at least 5, maybe 7 more cars, less cars in the draft, it's probably going to be more difficult to make a pass, but it's not impossible there. We almost went 5 wide for a second, as now the SHR teammates are now 1-2. Alford leads for now, but Anderson, now Thomas Troxell's trying to make it back to the lead. Brendan Wilmington's there. Aaron Abel. This is going to be a generational finisher. You might want to warm up those cameras.
4 wide for the race lead twice on the same lap. Wilmington leads here, coming to 2 laps to go. Here comes the 9 of Aaron Abel. David Dixon in the 83 is back up here as well. Monaco is also there on the inside with the 2 front row motorsports cars of Trey Wright and Jack Haas, looking to make their way back up here through this field. Here comes the 9 of Aaron Abel with a push from the 83 of David Dixon to the inside of Wilmington. They stay bumper to bumper off of turn 2, but now Dixon looking to try and peek to the inside, looking to see if he might have enough momentum to make a move on the 9 of Aaron Abel, or with how close these guys are together, maybe even just trying to cool that engine a little bit in that 83, but Abel will hold on to the lead here as we go through turns 3 and 4. Dixon looking back down to the inside. Here comes the 38 of Trey right here with a run off of turn number 4. Now he looks to the inside here as we come down the front straightaway to take the white flag. 1 lap to go here in Duel 2. Here comes Chase McClure, making it 4 wide for the lead as we head down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Ryan Durrani maybe even thinking about 5 wide as we head through 1 and 2. McClure will clear the rest of the cars on the outside of him, but Durrani now with the peak to the inside as we head off of turn 2. Here comes the 13 of John Andrews with a run down to the inside, but Anderson Jr. moves away from the 13, goes to the middle to help the 27 of Ryan Durrani, but Andrews might have enough momentum to stay to the inside, and he does through turns 3 and 4. Here comes Nathan Meyer with a bit of a run in the 5. But John Andrews leading the way off of turn number 4, trying to hang on to this dual win, and it looks like he might do just that. John Andrews in the number 13 is going to win duel number 2. Here's from the M&M Super Speedway, and he will start on the outside pole tomorrow for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown.
Wow, what a finisher to end off the Christmas Eve Showdown duel number 2 there. And even though it was like 15 cars, that was still a hell of a race there to the end.
Whew, that was definitely quite the race to the end there. Like I was talking about, went 4 wide for the lead twice on the same lap. These guys were absolutely going at it there after that caution flag, and in the end, it's the 13 of John Andrews in the right place at the right time and held off the field there, coming through turns 3 and 4. He is your race winner here in duel number 2, and he will start on the outside pole position for the Christmas Eve Showdown tomorrow at noon. So how about that for John Andrews there in the number 13. My goodness, what a pair of duel races this has been from the M&M Super Speedway. And taking a look here at your official results for duel number 2. And of course, with all that being mentioned, I'll go ahead and throw up the starting lineup for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown on the screen right now. That is how they will line up for the main event tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. And definitely excited to see how the main event will go tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it always usually is. Cannot wait to see how it will all end up playing out. But Logan, Matthew, what's your final thoughts here for these two duel races? And what are you looking out for tomorrow as we head into the main attraction, 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown?
Well, Matthew is right when he put it that there's always a calm and always a chaotic duel, and the finish of that one was chaotic. I saw Ryan Durrani go from the lead to the back to 4th place in just 2 laps, but wasn't quite enough to beat John Andrews at the line. Congratulations to him and to Brian Webb on their wins in the duels tonight, but the big one tomorrow, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Could be quite a lot of wreck race cars based on what we've seen tonight. We've had to throw quite a few on the hauler back home, but I'm really excited to see how tomorrow's big event will play out.
Well, if this race is anything to go, if these duel races are anything to go by, we're gonna have a pretty entertaining race tomorrow there. And I'm just gonna leave this out. My prediction to win the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown will be the 44 of Aaron Lukes.
How about that for the 44 of Aaron Lukes? That would definitely be a big win for him if he could pull it off tomorrow in the Christmas Eve Showdown. How about you, Logan? Who you got for tomorrow's race in the Christmas Eve Showdown?
You know, I would say it's too early to call, but this is the Christmas Eve Showdown, so might as well put a name in there. I'm going to say, how about Tyler Jericho in the M&M's car when barreling into the wall earlier today, but I think tomorrow he gets his revenge at the M&M Super Speedway.
A flippin' win there for Tyler Jericho would definitely be quite the story there. Have to see how tomorrow's race does end up shaking out, but regardless, it's going to be a lot of fun in tomorrow's 50-lap main event here from the M&M Super Speedway, as is usually always the case. And if these duel races were any indicator for how tomorrow's race might go, it's definitely going to be a very, very fun one, that is for certain. But thank you all so much for tuning in here tonight for the Christmas Eve Showdown duels. Of course, the starting lineup will be posted for the main event, which will be going up tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. Definitely hope to see you all there. It will be an absolute blast. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in. A huge thank you to Logan and Matthew for joining me alongside here for the duel races. And I will see you all tomorrow at noon for the 3rd annual running of the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown. But until then, you all take care and have yourselves a good one. Here is your starting lineup for the 2025 Christmas Eve Showdown.